It's the market, man. It's the market. You can't be mad at him. It's
Not
the
at all.
market. The TV deal kicks in 2024, 25, I'm sorry. That's when he gets the bulk of his money. So it makes sense. It's just, I can't wait to see what Jason Tatum's about to get.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, co-hosting is my player, my man, Fowler Campbell. Fowler, how are you on this fine taping day, sir?
Coach, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be back.
Oh, yes. And we're going to talk about a lot of basketball stuff. On this show, we're going to talk about the fact that sometimes it's best to say nothing. We're going to talk about roster construction in the modern NBA. And we're also going to have our WNBA news and notes. A lot of stuff going on in the WNBA. But first, following, sometimes it is best to say nothing. In the wake of all of this posturing and all of this talk about Dame Lillard's desire to play in Miami by his agent, the NBA sent out a memo to all 30 teams last week stating that any player or agent who makes public or private comments indicating that they won't, quote, fully perform the services called under their player contract in the event of a trade, unquote, will be subject to discipline. This memo was obtained by media sources and said the league had interviewed Dame Lillard and his agent following ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski's report that Goodwin called teams and warned them not to trade for Lillard because he would be unhappy playing for any place other than Miami. The league has informed the Players Association that any private or public comments like this will be subject to discipline. Following, why are we talking out loud? Can you give me your thoughts on the league coming down with a memo for something that is quietly unspoken?
Yeah, I'm surprised about it. I mean, obviously, the league doesn't want this to continue happening, so I understand why. But it's going to happen behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, players talk. You see other coaches out and about. So it's going to happen. But I get what, the NBA is trying to do. They just don't want it, to be publicized, so it makes sense.
All right. So this guy, Boston Celtics star, I can't say it without laughing, Jaylen Brown, has agreed to the richest deal in NBA history, a 5-year supermax extension worth up to $303 million for Jaylen Brown. And we're not mad at Jaylen Brown. This show is very fond of saying GTB, get the bag, but it's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's deal exceeds two-time MVP Nikola Jokic, $276 million extension. Brown became eligible for the 5-year Supermax by earning second-team All-NBA. Brown has averaged a career best 26 points on 49% shooting last year. He'll make $31.8 million next year in the final year of his previous deal. And then he is slated for $52 million when the contract kicks in, 24-25, and then $69.1 million in 28-29, the final year of the deal. Let me check my notes again, following. Yes, I said Jaylen Brown. Okay, so with that, what's your reaction to Jaylen Brown cashing the big check?
It's the market, man. It's the market. You can't be mad at him. It's
Not
the
at all.
market. The TV deal kicks in 2024, 25, I'm sorry. That's when he gets the bulk of his money. So it makes sense. It's just, I can't wait to see what Jason Tatum's about to get. I mean, if he's getting, 304, Tatum is getting 400. Like, the bar is set. So, I mean, hey, I'm all for it, man. I love it. Like, he really is getting more MVP than both MVPs in the last 2 years. So yeah, I just can't wait to see what these deals are going to look like after the TV deal.
You play a little sooner than you're supposed to, man. Okay, I'm sorry. Side note, player coach. All right, the Joker, the defending NBA champion, will not play for the Serbian national team in the upcoming FIBA World Cup as he rests from Denver's extended postseason run. Jokic generally plays for the Serbian national team 3 times since 2016. Are you good with him sitting out, or are you disappointed? What do you think about rest? As you know, I'm a big fan of rest.
Yeah, it's the World Cup, or is it your best? This is the World Cup.
Yes,
right?
This is the World Cup.
I mean, it is a big deal, especially for their country. But again, Joker, he's proven every time he plays with the national team, he's proven that he helps them out. But he played a lot of games this year, and he's not one of those guys that are big load management guys. So I don't know if maybe the GM or the owners suggested this, or like get some rest. But I do think he needs some rest because they got another long season coming up. And again, Joker's not one of those guys who's just gonna do that load management. Like, he's gonna be out there playing. So get your rest, man. I know he's out in Serbia enjoying time with his family and his brothers, man. So yeah, it's okay, man.
And the Olympics are next year. Right.
Exactly, and they're already qualified for the Olympics. So yeah.
Okay. Finally, Jose Alvarado. New Orleans Pelicans guard Jose Alvarado will not participate for Puerto Rico in the upcoming FIBA World Cup. Puerto Rico released his roster, and quite frankly, the Pelicans said no. He sustained an injury in February, missed the last 1.5 months of the season. In 61 games, he averaged 9 points, 3 assists. The Pelicans said the move is precautionary. Following, this is a 9-3 guy coming off injury. Wouldn't you want him to get the extra bump?
Let that man play, man. Let that man. What are we doing? Like, he's not Zion. He's not Brandon Ingram. Like, I get it. And the thing is, they got so many young guys. And I okay, you know what? They're looking out for his health. I get it. But if he's fully recovered, and you know that, and they did this research and they saw he's fully recovered, let him get the reps in. Like, he needs this now. He needs to get back on track. So, yeah, I don't know what they're doing, or maybe they value him more than I do. So, I don't. You know what? Yeah, maybe they do. So okay. I don't know, but I feel like he's young. He needs to get the reps in, and this will be good for him, man, in his career too. So,
and it's the Pelicans.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, they must see something in him that I don't. But
as much as I'm overprotective of my players, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Let me see how you look now. I'll pull the plug on you. I have no problem after seeing you play a little bit, saying, all right, he's done, or put him on a minutes restriction or something. Yeah. As a former coach who worked very closely with your AAU coaches on this, that, the other, I'm thinking this is a situation where let's get a little bit of bump when it means a little something. But again, maybe the Pelicans value him more than we do.
And maybe they don't have much control when he's over there playing already. So like you said, like the minute restriction, I don't know, maybe the Pelicans can't demand that. You know what I mean?
The Puerto Rican national team, and you're an NBA player. I got to think you can say, you got 20, use them however you want them and keep it moving. I'm sure, because they're going to need you more than you'll ever need the Puerto Rican national team as the New Orleans Pelicans. But, you know, all right, fans, when we get back on the other side of this, we're going to talk about roster construction in the NBA and some of the moves that teams are making. I'm glad I got Fowler in here for that. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we're talking about roster building in the NBA. And in the last segment, we talked about a lot of money being tossed around. But where's the winning coming? So with Portland and Miami possibly talking about trades, I did some homework, and I want to talk about why these type of players are making so much money and they're not seen as highly valuable. And we're going to talk Tyler Hero, because Tyler Hero, fans, he's due $120 million over the next 4 years. He could score 20 points a night, but he couldn't stop you if you had laryngitis. Couldn't stop you from talking if you had laryngitis. D'Angelo Russell is a one-time $117 million player who just signed another contract for $20 million a year, but his team, they're not really going deep in the playoffs. And the local team to myself, the Washington Wizards, they took on Jordan Poole's contract, which is another $100 million contract. And if the Wizards are in a play-in game, it's a great season. So part of this has to do with the fact that you got to spend money. The NBA has so much money that teams just can't sit on it. So all types of players are getting checks. And really, if my guy on the other side of the screen was coming out now, maybe he'd get a few more stateside opportunities than having to get his passport full. So, following, before we talk about the defensive specialists, what are your thoughts on these offensive specialists and the checks they're getting, but leaving the winning on the table? What do you think, man?
I mean, it's the NBA. NBA fans want to see the ball go in the basket often. So if you can do that at a high level, you have a good chance of getting a lot of money. Now, that doesn't equate to getting championships, but that equates to getting a lot of money. And the NBA has it. If you can put the ball in at a high efficiency, you're going to get paid somewhere. It might be with the Wizards. It might be with it could be with the Boston. It could be with anybody, any NBA team. If you putting the ball in the basket, you got a high chance of getting good money.
All right. So that's the offensive specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the defensive specialist, because these are still one-way players. They're one-way players. Defensive specialists who pose little to no offensive threat are also getting good money. Maurice Thybulle, who's a brilliant defender, got $33 million from Portland, and he's a role player, bench player, two-way player. But that $33 million is real money, and he's going to get it because he can stop these offensive guys. So now let's talk about the superstars. James Harden, Trae Young, Dame Lillard. These guys are perennial all-stars and air quote superstars, but they are nowhere near championship play. So following, as you're building a roster, and I'm giving you GM capabilities, how are you looking at players like Harden, Young, and Dame Lillard? Are you breaking the bank for them? What are you thinking about before I talk about my potential solution?
If I needed, I would. Whether it's James Harden, Trae Young, or Dame, I need that type of score on my team. And I understand James didn't have the best year last year, but he's proven. You know what I mean? All these guys are proven. So if I could get them, I'm trying to get them because I'm trying to win a championship this year, and I think they would help.
Even Trae Young?
Even Trae Young. I'm not a fan of Trae Young, but no. But if you have the right pieces around him, this is a guy that averages 25 and 10. You know what I mean? Like, if I had the right pieces around him, I'm fine with that. Like, if I have another, especially if I have another superstar, I don't think he had a superstar. He's never played with another true superstar. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So let's see how he does with Joel Embiid or a Joker, like somebody that's another superstar next to him.
Yeah, that's why that Phoenix thing fascinates me with Bradley Beal. But in my eyes, if I'm a GM, I got to find an economical balance. I'm not going to break the bank. I'm looking for pieces. All of this is a science experiment.
All the teams that win championships are over the salary cap, over the limit.
Yes.
So you're going to go over the limit. So there's no.
And that's why I said economical balance. So who am I going to pay? Who's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? Like Joker gives me a scorer, he gives me a rebounder, and he gives me a guy that can distribute the ball. Okay, I'm going to overpay for that. Trae Young is going to give me some buckets.
He's giving you 25 and 10. He's giving you 10 assists as well.
Is he giving me 10 assists?
He's getting 9-10 assists a game.
Okay.
Like he's giving you a double-double. Whether it's 8, 9, or 10, he's giving you that too. Now, if you put him against, he's with Atlanta. And like, if you put him with another superstar or maybe 2 other superstars, it changes the whole dynamic.
Changes it.
And then, hold on.
Go ahead.
And then we didn't even mention Damian Lillard. Like you mentioned Trae Young. Dame is definitely going to give you that impact. We haven't seen him with another superstar either.
No, man. But let me ask you this, and I got to say it. There's a lot of guys can be bad by themselves. And when you put, I'm going to watch what I say, another equally alpha dog with that person, it becomes who gets the credit. And you'll be amazed at how derailed people can get when they have never played with somebody who is just as good, if not better, on a large scale. So I'm very mindful of the chemistry experiment that comes with this. And that's why I'm looking to also create a system where you could do multiple things well. And as a owner, as a GM, as a coach, you also can't be afraid to move on. Can't be afraid to move on. But with that, I want to talk to you about Phoenix, because Phoenix is trying to turn theory into practice. So the Phoenix Suns are working to launch in their own G League affiliate team. And then by the time Phoenix does it, each team will have their own G League in the NBA. And with that, you can get, if I'm not mistaken, 3 two-way players. So Phoenix has a top-heavy roster in terms of financing, salaries, and they have a lot of guys who are rotation players. How do you think Bradley Beal's going to do in Phoenix? And also share your thoughts on their roster builder.
I think Brad's going to do well. He's shown that he can play the point. When I say shown that, like he's been in situations where he's gotten 4 or 5, maybe 6 assists a game. And when you're playing it with KD and Booker, I mean, he's the third option. So you got the third guy guarding you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see him, especially having the motivation now, I don't see the third option being able to guard Brad. You know what I mean? Now, I'm interested to see how that system works together. You know what I mean? Because we've never seen Brad at a true point guard position.
And we've never seen Brad play in a game that's meaningful. And now every game's meaningful. So he goes from an empty arena playing for nothing to you are expected every night to do this. You actually went in a similar situation when you went to college. And I'd love for you to talk about it, from being it to fitting into a role that ended up with your team collectively with a bunch of guys who fit into a role, making it to the Final Four. How did you adjust? And do you really think Brad can adjust to that?
Once you buy into the system, it's easy. I played with a bunch of guys that I was familiar with, that I was comfortable with. I knew their strengths. And I was a guy that, and I value being able to play multiple positions. So as you know, Coach, my junior year, I went from point guard. Then I went to shooting guard as a senior. Then I go to George Mason. My freshman year, I'm playing power forward and small forward. You know what I mean? Then my sophomore year, I used to move to the point guard. But that's all because of the team dynamic. You know what I mean? And that's what Bradley has to understand. Like, look, I am the third option. I have to adapt to them. Got to pick and choose when I need to score. but that's why I feel like it's going to be easy. Like these guys are all professionals. He's 30 plus. He's not worried about like, all right, look, I need the limelight. I need all of this. Like, no, let me just go out there and perform and do what I have to do for this team to be successful.
And that's awesome. And note to young players, yes, I think that's one of the undervalued things in your own career is that you played basketball. You didn't play a position. So good lesson to young folks. And speaking of playing basketball, Ben Simmons following.
Oh my God.
He is healthy. He is 100%. He is ready to report to camp. And the expectation is he'll be able to start the season from day one in Brooklyn. What are you thinking about Ben Simmons and the Brooklyn Nets? You know, I like Jacques Vaughn as a coach, and quietly they put together a little roster. And Ben Simmons is an all-NBA player at his best. Am I too excited for him?
You're too excited. I'm just happy I haven't seen one highlight clip of him during the summer. Because all the clips I see during the summer, him hitting jump shots, him dunking on people, and then he comes to the season, it's like, where was all that I saw in June and July? So I don't know what to expect, and I like it like that. I don't want to see no highlights until the first game of the season.
Oh man, okay, all right.
I don't. There's nothing to talk about. I'm done with it. I rooted for him. I was supporting. There's always something. You know what I mean? So I just want to be surprised at what I see come November.
Okay, Chet Holmgren. Now Victor's getting all the noise, but last summer, Chet Holmgren was the talk of the town, and he got injured, missed the entire season, came back in summer league and showed everybody why he was a top lottery pick. What are you thinking about Chet going into the season?
Hey, man. First of all, I'm excited about this OKC team. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to. I mean, maybe a playing team, but I think they're going to make the playoffs.
My king is smiling somewhere, man.
But as far as Chet, that injury might have been a gift and a curse. Well, not a curse, but a gift because it allowed him to develop. He looks bigger. He looks stronger, and now he's just more confident. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that could have happened it wouldn't have happened if he played last year, but I just felt like that year off, it allowed him to develop, man. So we might be talking about like for year to year, it might be Chet and
yes
up there. You know what I mean? So I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see this OKC team play.
Yes, a lot of people, including myself, feel the same way.
Yeah.
All right, Joel Embiid, should he play for France or should he play for Team USA? Grant Hill has reached out to him. Although he's a native of Cameroon, he can play for France and he can play for the U.S. in the 2024 Olympics. What are we saying, man? What do you think?
So I said the same thing about Giannis. Like Giannis has a Greek passport and he has a Nigerian passport. And I was like, man, look, play for the Nigerian national team. Like your parents are Nigerian, play for the Nigerian national team. Joe, I think his parents are Cameroonian.
Cameroon.
But he doesn't have that passport.
No, he became a French citizen in 2022.
Okay. I don't know, man. I don't. Either way, I mean, the French national team is good as well. But if he were to play with a national team, I think he would probably play for the U.S. national team. I can't see him and Rudy next to each other. I don't like it.
All right. And finally, before we transition in segment 3 to the WNBA, want to definitely share our thoughts and prayers out to the James family. As you know, fans, USC freshman Bronny James had a cardiac arrest event. He is home resting comfortably. There's scenes of him and his family out at dinner, and hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. Before I'm a coach, before I'm anything, I'm a father of a young student athlete who is training and hustling and doing his thing. And sitting across from me is not my player, but a father of a young student athlete hustling and training and trying to do his thing. And we can't raise them in bubble wrap. We can only do the best we can, and real life is real. So, Fowler, any thoughts on what you thought when you heard the Bronny James news, and any direction you want to go with that?
No, I was shocked, man. It just shows like it doesn't matter how strong we are, how fast we are. Like we're athletes. You know what I mean? We work out every day, but anything can happen, man. You know what I mean? Just got to take care of yourself, stay prayed up, and I mean, I'm just glad he's doing well right now. I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad that staff took care of him, and I think it'll make him stronger.
Yeah, and as a former athletic director, I've been to all the trainings. You got to have your ADs. And hey, I graduated high school in 1990. Hank Gathers was my favorite player my senior year because he led the country in scoring and rebounding. He was at Loyola Marymount. He was running up and down the court crazy. And he had a medical episode. So the night he died, he had a medical episode. And I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing. And I wake up and he's gone. So again, prayers up, and I hope you take the time to get better. These things have not been career enders in the last 10 years. So hopefully modern medicine is just that modern. And, on once we get back from the Eye Coaches podcast in segment 3, we'll jump to the WNBA. A lot of stuff going on there too. Be right back on the Eye Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler and Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Eye Coaches podcast in segment 3. It's the WNBA each and every week, and they're on the spotlight. So let's talk about the Phoenix Mercury. Brittany Griner will not travel with the Mercury this coming week for their 2-game road trip to Chicago and Indiana, so she can focus on her mental health. She's appeared in 20 or 23 games this season, had a highly publicized incident where she was literally held in Russia. She's back and she's going through her season. Phoenix is not doing well, but she's averaging 18 points, 6 rebounds, and a block a game. But it's been a lot. So I am not surprised that she just might need to pause. And as we say in our own social circle, just get off the boat for a second, get off the ride and pause a little bit. Following, I don't know if this came across your desk, but any thoughts on Brittany Griner? It seems like taking like a week off.
I mean, I think she needs it. I mean, I'm just, in shock of how well she's been playing, you know what I mean, after what she's been through. So I'm happy about that. And I mean, it comes to a point where it's like, look, now, maybe it came back. You know what I mean? Maybe these feelings came back. I don't know what triggered it, but it's like, look, all right, I need time to just gather myself and, get my mental right. So I'm all for it. I mean, the team is not.
And the Mercury are fully supporting her.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that teams are much more aware of these things. So thank you to Phoenix for understanding that. And also in Phoenix Mercury news, Diana Taurasi is back from injury. She was sidelined with a quad contusion and a left big toe injury. That's how Dion got his turf toe, and we still dealing with remnants from turf toe. Taurasi is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the WNBA. She's appeared in 16 games this season, and she is 71 points away from hitting 10,000 career points. So good luck to her. Let's move over to the Dallas Wings, and I've always mispronounced her name, so you're going to help me. Satu Sabali. Did I get that right, Father?
Softly.
Please give it to me correct.
Yeah.
All right. So she recorded her first triple-double last week. Of course, it happened to be against the Mystics. And she is widely considered a candidate for not only most improved, but some MVP ballots as well. Dallas is not where they want to be. They're at 4 right now, and they're trying to bust through to 3 and possibly 2. Have you seen her play this year? And any thoughts on her and what Dallas is doing? They're 14-10, and again, they're ranked 4th right now. But is she good enough to help them make that push?
She's definitely good enough to make that push, for them to make that push. She brings a lot of a wide dynamic of, like, she can guard multiple positions. She can handle the ball. She's tall. So I've actually seen her play in Europe as well at the highest level. And I do think she can help that team be successful in the playoffs, only because, like I said, she can guard multiple positions. She can score in different ways from 3, get to the basket from the wing, post up. She's special. She's special.
Yeah, and from reports, if the Wings continue at the pace they're going, this is going to be the first time the Dallas Wings, as a Dallas Wings organization, finishes above 500. So that's something right there.
Yeah.
Now, we do have to switch paces here. We did have an issue, and just as we do with men's sports, we're going to deal with it in the female and the women's sports. Rakina Williams, a veteran WNBA player and a member of last year's championship-winning Las Vegas Aces, has been barred from the team after her arrest last week on felony domestic violence charges involving a person authorities said is her spouse. She faces 5 felony charges, including multiple counts of domestic battery by strangulation, coercion with threat or use of physical force, and assault with a use of a weapon. According to court reports, she also faces 4 misdemeanor charges. The Aces have barred her from team activities while the team gathers more information. So, following, according to the police report, Williams was accused her spouse of being unfaithful. Before leaving to stay in the hotel, took several of her spouse's belongings, including a cell phone, which she later logged into. After allegedly finding evidence of cheating in the phone, returned to the residence where an argument ensued, and you heard the police blotter. Williams, who was drafted out of Miami in 2012, has been with the Aces since 2021 and yet to appear this season while dealing with a lower back injury. So the Las Vegas Aces, again, have barred her while this investigation is going on. We will allow the criminal justice system to go through its processes. But swift action was taken, where in other leagues and organizations, swift action has not often been taken. Any thoughts, sir, before we go into this week's standings?
Just want to say I don't condone, spousal abuse, anything like that. So I hope none of this is true. I'm not too familiar with the situation, but I don't condone any spousal abuse or anything like that. So I hope the justice system takes care of, what it should do.
Yeah, just go through the process. So in terms of standings, Las Vegas is 1, and they're going to be 1 more likely than not for the rest of the season because they're killing everybody, and they're on a record-breaking pace. So now 2 and 3, the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun, they're kind of lumped together. And then 4, 5, 6, and 7, Dallas, Atlanta, Washington, Minnesota, they're in that bunch. And then 8 and 9, Chicago and LA. 10, 11, and 12, Phoenix, Indiana, Seattle. So they're on the tanking tour, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And last week we asked some folks who they would take as number 1, because next year's WNBA draft has like 4 or 5 transcendent players. Well, we got you following. Who are you taking for if you had the number 1 pick next year?
It gotta be Clark.
Oh, Caitlin is yours. Okay.
It
Caitlin.
it gotta be Caitlin.
Will and I pick Paige Buckets.
Yeah, I got to see what she's coming off of 2 knee injuries. You know what I mean? Like I do as a franchise. Like this is she's starting another journey.
Yes.
So I want somebody that is not proven to be hurt. Back-to-back years. I get it. Paige has talent, but if I need a franchise player, Caitlin, I mean, she's going to give you everything. You know what I mean? She hasn't been hurt. She plays in every single game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a roll of the dice. I get it. Paige is,
there's nothing wrong with Caitlin Clark. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Angel Reese. There's nothing wrong. And Robert mentioned, and I keep forgetting her, the Heidi, who left Louisville to go to LSU. So, yeah.
Oh, the little point gal. Yes.
Yes.
Yep. I like her too.
It's going to be a fun year for college. And I hope the WNBA gets it right, man. You gotta
the WNBA.
You can make more money there than there.
Yeah, but we gotta expand the WNBA. When is that gonna happen? Like, how many teams we got? 14?
12,
15?
sir. 12. 144 players total in the league.
We got to expand the NBA. WNBA. At least to 16, 17, and then go from there.
Gotta invest, sir. So speaking of investing, the schedule looks like this. Friday, August 4th, my game of the week, Chicago versus Dallas, because playoffs will be here before you know it. And then Saturday, August 5th, Seattle and Phoenix in the race to the bottom. So I hope you lose. I hope you lose so you can get the ping pong balls go your way. All right. So scheduling note, fans. I'm very excited about this scheduling note, though. Our Wind Up Wednesday episodes will return on Wednesday, August 23rd, because beginning Saturday, August 5th through Saturday, August 19th, we will run our annual college and pro football preview episodes. We are entering year 3, following of covering football on all levels, and it's been exciting. So myself and our OCP team will give fans a different perspective of football as we prepare for our 3rd season of covering college and pro football. Of course, all of this is done strictly for entertainment purposes only. We hope to engage fan bases with conversation, not confrontation, and it should be a lot of fun. Following, you may be on one of these episodes or two. Any thoughts before we wrap up this week's show?
Nah, man, look, I'm excited, man. I'm definitely going to be on one of those shows, man. So just let me know. And you know who I want to talk about. So, yeah, just let me know, man. I'm here. This is exciting, man.
Okay. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Franchise Francis, our cavalcade of stars, including my player, Fowler and Campbell, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time. Take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.